This is Caring for Kids on News Talk 760 WJR, presented by the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation. And here's your host, President and CEO of the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation, Larry Burns.
Thanks, Mark, and hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Caring for Kids. I'm Larry Burns, your host. We got a great show planned for you tonight, discussing a variety of issues impacting children locally, regionally, and nationally. We'll first be joined with Peter Cummings. He's the founder and executive director of The Platform. Ryan LaFontaine, chairman of the North American International Auto Show, will drop in, and Nick Consiglio, president of Kids Without Cancer. And it's all coming up next on Caring for Kids, here on the great voice of the Great Lakes, News Talk 760 WJR.
It's Caring for Kids with Larry Burns.
Peter Cummings is the founder of RAM, a leading real estate investment management and development company. He is also the founder of The Platform, a Detroit-based venture dedicated to helping rebuild the city through creating new housing and retail developments. Mr. Cummings has been active in real estate development and management in Florida, Michigan, North Carolina, and Texas since 1975. He serves on the Max M. Fisher Family Office Investment Committee and is chairman emeritus of the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. He earned a bachelor's degree from Yale University and a master's degree in English literature from the University of Toronto. Peter Cummings, welcome to Caring for Kids.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to be here.
Appreciate it. And this is the first time you and I have had a chance to sit down and talk since the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation moved into the Fisher Building. So we're not only partners, but we're neighbors, and I can't tell you how happy the staff is. We had an executive committee meeting this week with our leadership, and they were just delighted to be there in their own boardroom, in their own space, and so just wanted to let you know that.
Great. Well, there's nothing I like hearing more than that we have a new tenant in the Fisher Building who is happy to be here, and this is a sort of a 5-year program as we see it from the time we bought the building 2 years ago. So there will be steady improvements, steady adding of amenities, and steady leasing to new tenants who will sort of create a new and exciting 21st century version of this magnificent icon.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I fell in love with the space was it was space with a whole bunch of wood paneling, and sort of we married the old with the new, and it's turned out to be a very special place for us. We're also really developing relationships with other tenants in the Fisher Building. Recently we're going to have something with Rachel Lutz in her Peacock Room, and so we're looking to do more with our family members from the Fisher Building. So looking forward to 12 years, our lease is, of great times together.
Great. Well, I plan to be here for 12 years.
Absolutely. So, we'll be here together.
So we'll see each other a lot.
Yes. And so we talk about the Fisher Building, at least a lot, I do, but there's so many other things that the platform is involved in. And so I thought we'd give our listeners maybe an overview of some of the projects. Before we did the interview, we looked across the street, 3rd Street, and saw your development that's going there that will be both retail and residential. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, actually, as I sit here, I can look out the window and see the tower crane and see the project that has been known as Third and Grand and may continue to be known as Third and Grand, but we're going through sort of a soul searching as to whether we like that name or want to come up with another name. But regardless of the name, it consists of 231 apartments, over 17,000 feet of retail, and the residential and the retail effectively embrace a 330 car parking structure. So when we think of the number of people who work within a let's say, a 3-block radius of this location. I think we're going to be able to give a lot of people who maybe don't live in the city yet, but who work in this neighborhood, an opportunity to both live and work in this neighborhood and frankly, reduce the reliance on the automobile.
Excellent. And so one of the things that I also noticed recently, just driving up and down Woodward, and we're talking with Peter Cummings from the platform, and one of the things that I noticed that there's another renovation of a building on Woodward. I would call it the east side of Woodward. On the corner, there's that building sort of near the White Castle, and what is that building going to be?
Well, that building actually has an interesting story, because the development you see underway was a Ross Business School project for 3 young guys who, under the direction of Peter Allen at the University of Michigan, created this as a project in their course. And so we ultimately ended up hiring all 3 of those guys. And we decided to invest in the project with them and help implement it. So that's really a gut rehab of some old buildings, and there will be 23 apartments over retail, which is fully leased. And we should be turning space over to retailers in February and be able to turn the apartments over to residents in May of this coming year. And you mentioned the White Castle, and
right.
across the street from the project I just described and behind the White Castle is another project that will be paired with the one you see under construction, and that will add 137 apartment units in a building that will be, without question, the most design-forward building in Detroit once it's completed. It's really quite an exciting design and pretty exciting concept in terms of how the internal living spaces work. So that's another 137 plus 23, 160. So, between these 2 projects, we're going to be adding 400 residential units right in this immediate neighborhood over the next, effectively over the next year.
Next year, wow. So that's another great reason that we're delighted to be here and at the Children's Hospital Michigan Foundation offices. And I know that there's many of the projects that you're mentioning are really sort of mixed communities with individuals from different backgrounds. And is that part of what the platform is trying to do, of trying to take the great diversity of Detroit and create communities and environments that we can all live, enjoy, and thrive together?
Yes, I would say that what you just described is very much part of our mission. We believe that great work is being done by Dan Gilbert and the Illiches in the Central Business District and in the Sports and Entertainment District. And we wouldn't be where we are without those 2 forces in the city and their passion for the city. But, I frequently say that more than 95% of the reinvestment money that has been put into the resurgence of Detroit has found its way to less than 5% of its footprint. And so I say the platform exists to address as much as we can of the other 95%. So we are active in Techtown, New Center, North End, Milwaukee Junction, Brightmoor, Old Redford,
East Jefferson a little bit too.
Livernois 6 Mile, and East Jefferson, with 2 projects where Grand Boulevard curves to the east and flows into Belle Isle. So we're in a lot of different neighborhoods, and in every neighborhood we're focused on affordable housing. 20% of the units in this project that we can see out the window and in the Third and Grand project will be affordable units. And there are a couple of neighborhoods where we're working where the affordability will even be pressed down to embrace lower levels of income than we can embrace here in the central city. But our belief is that this recovery is only sustainable to the extent that it's inclusive. Mm-hmm. And in order to be inclusive, we need to go out to neighborhoods that haven't had a lot of attention. So that really our second mission. Our first mission is to do the kinds of things that you can see here on or near the Woodward Corridor. Our second mission is to embrace a wider range of neighborhoods in pursuit of inclusiveness in terms of the recovery for Detroit. And our third mission is mentoring young people, because what happened during the past 2 generations is a great deal of the real estate talent that was born and bred here in this community saw no opportunity in Detroit, so they either turned their attention towards the suburbs or actually left the market entirely. So we need a stronger cadre of really good developers, a younger generation coming up who are really going to do the rebuilding of this city. And so we have a number of ways that we focus on helping to develop that younger generation.
Excellent. So one final question, and I know that I've heard you speak publicly about coming back to Detroit and being part of this, and we're so fortunate that you've decided to do that. And so your vision of your platform as well as Detroit in 10 years, if you can, years go by fast, and so if you can just share with our listeners a little bit of where you see Detroit in 10 years.
Well, in 10 years, I see Detroit still in the early stages of a remarkable renaissance. And I think that what it ultimately tracks back to is intellectual capital. Mm-hmm. Communities are really only as powerful as the intellectual capital that resides in that community, either talent that we create ourselves or organically generate within the community and are able to retain, right. Or talent that we import. To me, one of the stories I like so much is the story of Moussa Tariq and his wife Liz Keene. Moussa is the chief brand officer for Ford. Mm-hmm. And Liz works for a company in San Francisco called Sherpa Capital, which is a venture company that's involved with the state of Michigan in promoting the link between Silicon Valley and the southeastern Michigan in terms of mobility developments, both hardware and software. And so here's a couple that was living in San Francisco. Moussa Tariq decides to leave Apple, his job at Apple, to come here and work for Ford. And now they have an apartment here, and you have these 2 bright young people who see something in Detroit and have decided to make a bet with their lives, with their careers on Detroit. And there are more and more stories we hear like this. I mean, the fact is that Detroit, for whatever you were trying to do here, was headwind, and now Detroit has become tailwind. So 10 years out, this should be a healthy, thriving city where design has had a powerful impact. Excellent design has had a powerful impact, and where we're slowly narrowing that gap of income inequality, which is probably the greatest problem our country faces. And Detroit's the great urban lab of America.
Yeah. Excellent. And, well, we have a lease for 12 years, so the 10-year view, we'll be together beyond that. So I want to thank you very much, Peter Cummings from the platform, the Fisher Building. We're actually in the Fisher Building at WJR, so that's another great reason that we're here. So thank you very much for what you're doing. and look forward to being your partner and watch the great things you're doing over the years.
Well, thanks for having me, and welcome to the Fisher Building.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And coming up next, we're going to hear from Ryan LaFontaine, and he's going to talk about the 2018 International Auto Show. He's the chairman. When Caring for Kids continues, here on the great voice of the Great Lakes, News Talk 760 WJR.
Welcome back to Caring for Kids on WJR, presented by the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation.
Ryan LaFontaine is the chairman of the 2018 North American International Auto Show. He is also the chief operating officer at LaFontaine Automotive Group. After combating Hodgkin lymphoma in 2008, Ryan created his own nonprofit called You Can Survive. You Can Survive. Ryan holds a bachelor's degree in automotive marketing from Northwood University, and we welcome him again to Caring for Kids. Ryan, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on this morning.
Appreciate it very much. Appreciate all you do for our foundation and for Children's Hospital, by the way, so thank you.
Our pleasure.
I mentioned that you're the chairman of the North American International Auto Show and the Great Charity Preview. It's the largest single night fundraiser in the world, I think, having raised over $111 million. And can you tell our listeners, as we get into the holiday season and they start thinking about Charity Preview, about the role you have with the Detroit Auto Dealers Association and how all that fits into your chairmanship of the event?
Yes, I have the honor of being the chairman of the 2018 North American International Auto Show and the past president of the DADA, and it's been a fun ride. It's about a 5-year term that you kind of go through all the different chairs leading up to the big event, but we'll take stage that night for the ribbon-cutting ceremony with all the distinguished governmental leaders and global experts, and hopefully we'll be announcing that we raise another over $5 million for children's charities. And as you know, obviously, Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation is one of those benefiting charities as well.
We're extremely grateful for that, and so the listeners that maybe aren't that familiar with it, can you talk a little bit about the other charities that are involved? You don't have to list them all because there's several, but just a couple others.
Sure. We give back to as many as we can, but we give back to the Boys and Girls Club of Southeastern Michigan, the Boys Hope and Girls Hope Detroit, the Children's Center, and the DADA Association Charitable Fund, as well as Detroit Pal Judson Center, just to name a few.
And so those are all children-related activities. So is the purpose of the Charity Preview to support specifically children's events, children's activities?
That's where we focus for sure. We obviously try to give back as much as we can, and focusing obviously on the children, and really just have a real commitment to giving back to the local communities for these organizations. We recently, the Detroit Auto Dealers Association Charitable Foundation awarded $534,000 to diverse groups, and obviously a lot of them focus right on the children's charity itself. So that's kind of the sweet spot for our giving. Not that it's just limited there, but it's really been our focus and our passion for many years.
And we're talking with Ryan LaFontaine, who's the 2018 chairman of the North American International Auto Show. He is also chief operating officer at LaFontaine Automotive Group. And so I know that the Charity Preview is the highlight of many people's social activities of the year. And so anything new this year or anything special that you want to mention regarding the 2018 Charity Preview?
It's such a great night, and obviously it raises so much money for obviously our local community when it comes to charities. But those that haven't been there, it's really just an action-packed night, obviously full of glitz and glamour and giving. Obviously we focus there, but there'll be a lot of people. Obviously we're going for a record, and it seems like every year people come from all around Michigan and other states and support it. And I think one of the main things is because obviously it's going right back into obviously these charities. So amidst all the shiny cars, the gowns, and obviously the tuxedos, and everyone having a great time, the focus, of course, really is all surrounding obviously the charity part of it and giving back to so many local children in need.
Yes, and you mentioned the black tie, and this year the Children's Hospital Michigan Foundation is launching a new bow tie that we're going to be trying to get people to purchase, and the proceeds of that bow tie go toward pediatric cancer research at Children's Hospital, and so look for more of that. And we're partnering with an organization called Bow Tie Cause that was created by a fellow by the name of Dhani Jones, who was an All-American football player at U of M. So
Sure.
So look for that, and we'll be promoting our bow tie as well, and hopefully can raise some additional money for Children's Hospital and cancer research.
Well, let me know how I get one, because I'd be glad to obviously help you push that and get everyone wearing your bow ties and giving back to that charity.
Perfect. And let me ask you how your charity is doing, the You Can Survive. How are you doing with that?
You know, we've been very blessed. We had two main events this year, and we've net raised over $500,000, given back to all the local, obviously, hospitals and the researchers right here, as we've done with your hospital, and just really trying to do our part. We feel blessed to have our good health. I'm 9 years now a cancer survivor, and just want to pay it forward as much as we possibly can. Our goal is to net raise $1 million a year and keep all that money here local at all of these great hospitals like yours that do such amazing things of raising the cure rates for all different types of cancers. So not just what I had, but all cancers, and try to raise a cure rate till we find a cure for all forms of cancer.
Yeah, well,
it's been going great.
Yeah, well, thank you. I know that Dr. Jeffrey Taub and Luann Ewald, the CEO of the hospital, are extremely grateful, and they send their thanks to you, your sister, your family for all the things you're doing.
Well, your entire hospital is in our hearts. I tell you, when we walked through there and met everyone's so passionate and heartfelt. It's absolutely amazing, and we're happy to support you in every way we possibly can.
Great. Well, I look forward to seeing you at the charity preview, if not before. And thanks for being on the show, and most importantly, for all the things you and your family are doing.
Well, I appreciate you having me on and just the time and all you do, obviously, for the world of cancer. And we'll be happy to support you with everything we can. And I'm looking forward to getting that bow tie.
All right. I promise you'll have it. That was Ryan LaFontaine, chairman of the 2018 North American Auto Show. And coming up next, we're going to hear from Nick Consiglio. He's president of Kids Without Cancer. That's when caring for kids continues. Here on the great voice of the Great Lakes, News Talk 760 WJR.
Welcome back to Caring for Kids on WJR, presented by the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation. Once again, here's Larry Burns.
Nick Consiglio is president of Kids Without Cancer and a founding member of this great organization. His motivation for creating this, formerly known as Leukemia Research Life Incorporated, developed over 35 years ago when his best friend's son was diagnosed with childhood cancer and unfortunately passed away. Kids Without Cancer is the largest contributor of funds to pediatric cancer research at our Children's Hospital of Michigan, raising over $4.5 million and do great work. So, Nick, welcome and thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Larry.
Glad to have you on this show and glad to see you in person. The work that your organization, Kids Without Cancer, I love the name of it, is amazing. Can you tell our listeners about the mission and what you're accomplishing with the funds that you raise?
Well, our mission is singular in that we're attempting to find a cure, and the only way to find a cure is through research.
Right.
So our singular mission is to raise funds to fund cutting-edge research here at Children's Hospital of Michigan and Wayne State University.
Great. And so we also interviewed Ryan LaFontaine, and his foundation also is funding research to beat cancer. And so people like you and Ryan are so special to this community. Now, I mentioned that the organization Kids Without Cancer was founded in 1981.
Yes.
And some very encouraging statistics. Survival rate for children diagnosed with cancer was approximately 50%.
Yes.
Today, the average survival rate is near 80%. So that's through research, as you said. You get it. It's through research. And tell us what these statistics and others, what it means to you personally and to the organization, it has to be motivating to keep going.
It is, and it's exciting, the fact that we know that we're making a difference.
Right.
That all the fundraising efforts that our people have put forth over the years, all the support we've had from other organizations, it's paying off, and we need to continue this if we're ever going to reach 100%.
Yeah. So we're talking with Nick Consiglio, who's president of Kids Without Cancer. And not too long ago, I had the privilege of standing next to you, and we cut a ribbon for a new research lab at Wayne State University, and so it's what I would call a unique lab, at least unique to me. And so, can you tell our listeners about that particular that lab?
Yes, we're very excited about this. This is our very first endeavor into funding our own lab. After 36 years of fundraising,
Right.
we've finally been able to reach that goal. It's a lab that uses zebrafish for as specimens, which is unique.
Yeah.
And we're glad to have it here in the city of Detroit. The lab is located at the iBio Center at Wayne State University on Woodward Avenue. We have a lab that is capable of conducting 6 research projects at the same time. And currently we have one project going, our project that we had started. The lab just opened a few months ago, so we're encouraging others to come forth, provide funds, and start your own projects. We now call the lab the Kids Without Cancer Research Initiative, and it's operated by Dr. Ryan Thummel in conjunction with Dr. Tracy Baker,
Right.
both in collaboration with our head of hematology oncology, Dr. Jeffrey Taub.
Right. And at the event, it was great to be part of that. So thanks for including me. But it's the physicians and the researchers, the PhDs you mentioned, are all relatively young.
Yes.
And so it is so nice to see the future of research here in Detroit so stable and is going to be with us a long time. So that's pretty cool too.
We're very excited to have these researchers here in town. Neither are actually from Detroit. They were recruited here, so they're here to do a job that we think is essential. That is why we committed in excess of $400,000
Right.
For research over the next 10 years.
Yeah, I think that'll be a great investment. Good people and a good Wayne State is doing great work as well. One of the things I just learned recently was that Kids Without Cancer, you have chapters at Michigan State University and U of M. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
We do. Students at both universities are doing their own fundraisers without any interference from us,
Right.
and doing a phenomenal job. They raised over $4,000 last year just doing
Doing their thing.
It's fabulous.
Good. Any plans to add any other college campuses?
Actually, we just added Wayne State University.
Well, that
started a
makes sense.
chapter.
Right.
Cassie Vandenberg is heading up that effort.
Okay.
We're really proud of her. She is a pediatric cancer survivor.
Right.
And we just had a young lady at our last monthly meeting that's going to start one at the UOD Mercy.
Oh, perfect. Wow, that's great. You know, I spent 27 years in higher ed, and I know what college students can do, and so it's fun to work with them, but they also have some great ideas, and so I think what you're doing is going to be good for the future of Kids Without Cancer. And so how can people help?
Donations.
Okay. How do they do that?
They can go to our website, www.kidswithoutcancer.org, and hit the donate button. They can go out and do their very own fundraisers. We can give them some guidance. That is how a lot of our money is raised, is through other organizations.
Okay.
So
the website again is www.kidswithoutcancer.org.
yes.
And just go look for that donate button.
Yes.
Cool. And so we'll put that on our website, and we'll put it as we promote this interview. We'll also do that.
Thank you.
We can hopefully open up some additional doors for you and your colleagues at Kids Without Cancer. So anything else you want to add? Any events coming up or anything that people need to know about Kids Without Cancer?
A couple things. One is that we're in preparation of our 36th annual Evening of Hope dance that will be held on March 10th, 2018 at the new Little Caesars Arena.
Really? Okay.
We're really very excited about that. And the other thing would be is that we're very excited to be partners with Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation. It's been a great conduit to get our funds to the researchers. We hope this continues for many years to come.
Oh, absolutely. So we're grateful for it, and we'll definitely be involved and promote that event in March.
Thank you.
That I promise. So, Nick, thanks a lot for all you do for kids, for Wayne State, for Children's Hospital, and for the foundation.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. That was Nick Consiglio. He's president of Kids Without Cancer. And coming up next, I'm going to talk to one of my colleagues, our foundation's Kate Kesner, about some events coming up. And so don't go away. We'll be right back.
It's Caring for Kids with Larry Burns.
We're back here with Kate Kesner. She is the Special Events and Corporate Giving Manager for our Children's Hospital Michigan Foundation and a colleague of mine. Kate, welcome. We're glad that you're here. And so I wanted to talk to you about a few events coming up, one real soon, and that is something that's called Cheers for Children.
Yep, Cheers for Children. It's the 6th annual event coming up on Saturday, December 9th, 2017 at the Garden Theater, 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Tickets will include appetizers, refreshments, and live entertainment.
And what kind of party is this?
It's definitely a fun party. Think Las Vegas, Larry. Lots of lights, VIP seating, pretty girls, lots of cocktails, dancing, live music.
And all to raise money for the foundation?
Yep. This year, for the 6th annual event, the proceeds will be going to support the Leaders for Kids newly found endowment.
Right, and we're very excited about that. Leaders for Kids, one of the founders, Peter Giannopoulos, one of our trustees, and people like Lauren James, Mikey George are all involved. They do great work for our foundation, and they are engaging in the community. And they have decided to not only support things immediately, but they're creating this endowment that this event, Cheers for Children on December 9th, will be used for. And then our foundation, as you well know, is matching that dollar for dollar. So it's sort of a savings account to build a better future for Leaders for Kids. So I commend them for making that decision about creating an endowment. So it's a great event. And say one more time how people can find out how to buy a ticket.
If people are interested in purchasing a ticket for Cheers for Children on December 9th, please visit the website at www.chmfoundation.org/CFC17.
Got it. So what other events do you want to talk about?
Well, we've got our partnership with Charity Preview coming up on January 19th, 2018, in partnership with Detroit Auto Dealers Association. As you know, we are proud to be one of 8 charities involved as one of the benefactors this year at the event.
Well, we're not only proud, we're very grateful. We spoke earlier to Ryan LaFontaine, who is the chairman of this upcoming 2018 International Auto Show. He's been, as you know, because you're the one who introduced me to him, is very supportive of our Children's Hospital of Michigan. He's a cancer survivor himself, and he also indicated that he will be supportive of our new bow tie. So we have a new partnership with Bow Tie Cause, our friend Dahani Jones, raising money for pediatric cancer research at Wayne State, at Children's Hospital of Michigan, and other places. And so Ryan is going to be one of our first ambassadors for the bow tie. And so that, when I think of bow ties, I also have to think about the Kentucky Derby. Last year we had an event that was around the Kentucky Derby. It was on Derby Day. Can you tell our listeners who are waiting, I'm sure, find out if we're going to do it again?
Absolutely. We're looking so forward to the 2nd annual inaugural Derby for Kids event, which will take place Saturday, May 5th, 2018 at the beautiful Country Club of Detroit. The event will be from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. with strolling hors d'oeuvres, cocktails, of course, mint juleps, and we will be live streaming the race from the venue.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And so those 2 events, one coming up real soon, and then the second one coming up in January, the Charity Preview. And then we have May for the Derby Party, May 5th. So tell us a little bit more about Leaders for Kids and any other events that they are involved in.
Well, Larry, as you know, Leaders for Kids is an advisory group of Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation, comprised of emerging leaders from Southeast Michigan, and they are all extremely passionate about the health and wellness of children in the region and the charitable work being performed by our organization. And Larry, as you know, this organization was founded by Peter Giannopoulos and Derek Sarafa, and their first event took place 6 years ago at Bosco. They were just having a celebrity bartender night, raised a couple $1,000s, and to date they have raised over $450,000 in support of all the initiatives at Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation.
Yeah, they do great work. They're great fun, and they're the future of this community, future of our foundation. So I commend them, and I thank you for all the great work that you're doing. Looking forward to Cheers for Children, looking forward to the charity preview, and looking forward to the Derby Party in May of next year. And so in closing, I want to thank Kate for being with us and for all the other things you do during the course of the year. I want to thank you for listening to Caring for Kids. This is a show that we have monthly, but we also now have a great partnership with Crain's Detroit Business. So look for a recap of the show Monday coming out in the Crain's printed version, as well as some of the social media. Today, as I hope you know, is Giving Tuesday. And so hopefully you've made a gift to our foundation maybe, or to another organization that's close to your heart. But that's Giving Tuesday is growing more popular each year. We also have an end-of-the-year appeal coming up for the foundation. So if you receive something from our great trustees in the mail, I hope you consider giving us a gift so that we can continue to help children, not only in Detroit, Wayne County, southeastern Michigan, and the state of Michigan, but because of research, we're helping kids, we believe, all over the world. A little bit of an update on our granting in 2018. We've started to make those decisions, and we just made some decisions of granting over $3 million. That's $3 million of new money for grants that will take place in the first part of 2018, and then we'll look at a second granting cycle as well. And so we'll probably be around the $6 million mark when all is said and done. So we continue to try to raise money, and equally important, we are giving out money to help children and their wellness, to help them with disease control, and to make our future brighter because of these children. So thanks for all your support. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in next month.
Caring for Kids on WJR has been presented by the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation.